coming up towards 6:50 in Trinidad and Tobago. We were talking about looking for leadership in various issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, let's talk now about distinguished leadership and innovation, because there's the conference, the annual conference that will be taking place. It's coming up on April the 11th this year. By the way, if you would like to sign up for this very, very early, there are early bird specials, $875 US, and for groups of 8, the price goes to $850 US per person. The featured speaker will be Professor Donald Sull. He's a global expert on strategy and execution in turbulent markets, and will be here for the conference. Are we in a turbulent market? We'll find out. Well, here to give us some more information is the Executive Director and Professor of Strategy at the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business, Professor Miguel Carrillo, who last week experienced his first game of cricket and picked up 4 wickets. So I don't know if you could call him the finest cricketer from all of Mexico, has joined us this morning. Buenos dias. Good
Buenos dias. Well, it's the finest and the only, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. I won't ask you too much about pilau. We will probably talk about paella at another time. Tell us about the event that is coming up on the 11th.
Well, this event, which we call it Roaring Out of Recession, I think that it couldn't be at a better time. It's interesting, but a recession means that things stop. They get stalled. And these type of environments really demand our conviction to act. You know, human beings, whenever we are under, when we change the way we see the world, when the world changes around us so sudden, as it has in our case, because of the economic environment, the immediate instinctive reaction is to stop, to retrench. But in a business, this is maybe the perfect time to really be a little bit more aggressive and become a resilient organization. And this is the point. These might be the best, the best opportunity for businesses and organizations to really transform themselves and really become a resilient organization. You know, we live in a world that is uncertain. We live in an uncertain market, and as well in an uncertain industry. So the volatility, the unpredictability is there. It's not gonna end. And I think that this economic cycle that we're experiencing right now, I think is less a cycle and more a structural issue. And if we have a structural issue, which is our overdependence on natural resources, we need a structural solution.
Absolutely. We probably won't have the time to develop all of those issues, but I just want to get a lot of the basic information out of the way so people can get it related to this dialogue, Distinguished Leadership and Innovation Conference. As we mentioned, on the 11th of April, the title is Emerging Triumphant. In that sense, and the Professor Donald Sull, we'll hear a bit about him from Professor Carrillo in a moment. But if you want to be part of this event, you can call 645-6700, extension 299, 645-6700. You can email conferencing@lockjackgsb.edu.tt. There's a website, lockjackgsb.edu.tt/DLIC, or just go to lockjackgsb for all of the links. The event is going to be at the Hyatt Regency. What can we expect? What can those who would like to be part of this experience expect from Professor Donald Sull?
You know, Donald is an expert in execution, strategy execution in these turbulent markets. And what you can expect is really very simple steps and tools that actually, you know, companies and organizations could follow to really go through this recession, like survive and then as well thrive. One of the most important things and points about that Donald Sull puts forward is that in a way, a recession demands that organizations should overcome themselves, which means that they should be much less centered in what they produce and much more concerned what problems they can solve for customers. And that is one of the most important things that will actually lead companies out of recession, not focusing on the the means towards the end, but focusing more on the end.
How difficult is that, in the sense that sometimes we go into business thinking, well, how much money can I make, rather than what service can I provide that will ultimately result in the profits anyway?
Yes, absolutely. There's this growth trap. The growth trap is, basically, if you grow, you can grow by reducing your price, but then the trap is you reduce your margins. The other growth trap is, okay, if you increase your price, you increase your margins, but your volume decreases. And the problem is that companies are too focused or too centered in what they do, and not centering on what problems they can actually solve for their customers. Now, on the other side of the equation is, one of the most important ways to get out of this recession will be our ability to outgrow the Caribbean. We're too local, we're too regional, and the Caribbean market is not growing. Most likely it won't grow in a long time. And the way for businesses to grow and trade that is to learn how to do business with and in other markets. So we must outgrow the Caribbean, and we must explore and expand the periphery. There's one big issue. The issue is that we're good at taking risks, but our comfort zone where we take those risks is very narrow, is very small. It is important that we expand that comfort zone and include more relevant and important markets. Obviously,
is that a contradiction in terms that you're taking risks but only in a comfort zone? That's not a risk?
Well,
if you're in a comfort zone, you're not taking any risks?
It's interesting, but what you say is, we just finished a very interesting research. And the school, it took us 2 years to analyze the behavior of large regional corporations. And what we found out is that they are very good at taking risks. They are actually quite risk-prone. They're quite brave. The problem is the atmosphere, the environment is very reduced. The comfort zone is small. And the comfort zone is called the English-speaking Caribbean. So if you check how many companies are actively investing outside the Caribbean and actively investing and growing outside the Caribbean, you'll find out that there might be not more than this.
Yeah, and as you say, the comfort zone of language, it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
We'll be showing a bit of a video in the final minute before the top of the hour for the news. But before time runs out on us, Professor, this distinguished lecture, Distinguished Leadership and Innovation Conference has been seen as very successful over the years. How challenging has it been to ensure that the featured speakers, the topics, remain relevant, remain of great importance and topical, given the times that we live in?
Obviously, if we have to, walk the talk. The concern about people right now, business people, is really how to survive and how to go on and how to use this particular economic context to their advantage. And Donald Saul has been the ultimate expert in managing through volatility and uncertainty, and actually he's an expert in building resilient organizations. Usually in this type of economic environments, companies cut training costs. But this is something that they must actually invest, because this is one of the few opportunities that they will have to really have access to great lessons and stories about companies that have used these have used and identified the unexpected advantages of recessions, And one of the most unexpected advantage will be that now it will be the time to act. Maybe this is the context that will push us outside our comfort zone, create the right sense of urgency to get to overcome ourselves.
Indeed. Well, you didn't do too badly outside your comfort zone, picking up 4 wickets in your first cricket match.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on that once again. And before we wrap up, let's give you a reminder of the event that is coming up on April the 11th, and then we move to the news.
I'm not a social problem guy. I'm a guy that works with business.
Courage and imagination and urgency are not things that depend on resources.
The Because if I'm going to make a contribution, it has to be from an understanding of where I'm at my best.
When am I going to do something purposeful? What is my legacy going to be? What am I going to contribute to the world? When am I going to live my best life?
50% of sales presentations fail because the salesman talked too much and listened too little.
Are great leaders born or made? Great leaders are born, then made.
If, as a management team, you can take your complicated strategy and distill it down to its simple essence, value creation, critical challenges, must-win battles, you can bridge the gap from strategic insight to effective execution.
Good morning. With a look at today's headlines, I am Aksha Gulston. A shooting in St. Augustine has left